This is a statement regarding the proceedings which are going on in Parliament about IEBC commissioners. And we are saying that order must stop revenge mission against IEBC commissioners. When the Supreme Court made this contemptuous ruling on the 2022 presidential election, we said we strongly disagreed, but accepted it in the interest of furthering the rule of law, stability, and healing of our nation. Since we made that concession, the Order administration has proceeded on a path of impunity, witch hunt, and revenge. Their target has been the institutions and individuals the regime thinks did not dance enough to its tunes during the campaigns. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations and Mr. George Kinoti were among the first victims. Now, the regime has trained its guns on the 4 IEBC commissioners, that the Deputy Chairperson, Mrs. Juliana CHERERA, and Commissioners Francis Madenge, Irene Masit, and Justice Nyangaya who expressed their reservations over the process that led to the declaration of William RUTO as president. A process whose outcome is predetermined is already underway at the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly. And as you can see, we have just come from the proceedings of that committee. The 4 commissioners are supposed to appear before this committee, be found guilty, and be made to appear before a tribunal to be set up by Mr. RUTO that will confirm their guilt. They will then be thrown out of the IEBC. This revenge mission of selective injustice is being steamrolled by none other than the speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate and Mr. William RUTO. This selective injustice against the 4 commissioners takes place despite the existence of other petitions seeking the removal of Wafula Chebukati, Abdi Guliye, and Boya Molu as commissioners of the IEBC. The criminal RUTO stooges at the IEBC are being protected and rewarded, while those who fought for integrity of our elections are being punished. A petition by Mr. Milton Nyakundi Oriku, dated 19th September 2022, against the 3, that is Chebukati, Guliye, and Molu, was received at the main records unit of the Senate on the 28th of September 2022. To date, it has not been tabled before the Senate. Since the conclusion of the 2022 election cycle, we have done our best to give RUTO time and space to heal and unite our land. We have given so much space that a section of Kenyans think we have given up the fight. Unfortunately, RUTO too seems to think that we have surrendered. Instead of healing the land, however, all we see is a leadership that is extremely keen to deepen and widen the bitter partisan divide that existed during the campaigns and even open new wounds. As the country faces monumental challenges, the leadership is consumed with the exacting revenge and laying grounds for stealing of elections in 2027. That is what the case against CHERERA and her team is about. The Musketeers, that is Chebukati, Molu, and Guliye, have sworn not to hand over to Mr. CHERERA and her team. That is why there is a rush on the 4 commissioners to ensure Chebukati has no one to hand over to come January. The RUTO administration supports this conspiracy because it wants to pick a set of user-friendly commissioners to complete the capture of IEBC for the 2027 elections. And even the law, the regulation that was agreed upon on how to select a panel that will interview and recommend the new commissioners is also being amended. We are witnessing a swift, steady and dangerous re-emergence of capture of institutions by the executive. The judiciary was the first to willingly give in to RUTO. The capture is now being extended to our 2 houses of parliament. Swiftly, Kenyans are being turned into passive bystanders in the affairs with grave implications for our unity, our stability and governance as a nation. The RUTO administration is taking us back to the state of affairs last witnessed in the Nyayo regime of the 1980s. This kind of impunity, selective injustice and capture of institutions will have grave consequences. We are here to sound a warning. No one should lie to this regime that we will sit back and watch a return of the Nyayo regime by another name. And I want to repeat, we want to warn this regime that we will not sit back and watch a return of the Nyayo regime by another name. If deepening and widening the divisions among Kenyans is what the UDA regime wants, we will only be too happy to help them along that path. The injustice being inflicted on the IEBC commissioners, if it proceeds as currently conceived, will mark the beginning of a massive pushback against the RUTO and those who think like him by the people of Kenya. We will openly and robustly lead that pushback. We call on our houses of parliament to be guarantors of the rule of law and justice in the country and stop being enablers of the constitutional revenge mission they have been deployed on against the 4 commissioners. A member of a commission or the holder of an independent office is not liable for anything done in good faith in the performance of a function of that office. I want to repeat. A member of a commission or other holder of an independent office is not liable for anything done in good faith in the performance of a function of the office. Unquote. By summoning these commissioners, Parliament is usurping the role of a tribunal. They are trying to prejudice whatever tribunal could be formed. Parliament's role must be limited to summoning the petitioners and deciding whether the issues raised warrant the setting up of a tribunal. In any case, the conduct of the commission was part of the election petition. None of the commissioners was found to have committed any offense. Only Chebukati was found to have acted unilaterally. This probe is therefore politically motivated. It is a continuation of the witch hunt mission that RUTO is on. It will turn into a nasty partisan fight at a time we need to unify the country and tackle our problems. In fact, we advise the commissioners to boycott it in the interest of constitutionalism and rule of law. This country wants to move on. UDA must allow it to move on. With all the problems Kenyans are going through, a focus on punishing 4 commissioners who did not agree with their chairman is trivial, vindictive, and vile. It must stop. It will not end well. End of the statement.